always got to be in a place of appreciation and gratitude. And how about everybody else who is responsible for organizing this conference today? Fantastic. Well, folks, it is true. I have spoken in over 38 countries to over 1 million people. United Nations, Fortune 500 corporations, FBI, you name it. I actually just had a chance at the end of March to give a motivational talk to the University of Oklahoma Sooners football team, who will be #1 in the country, but they asked me to give that presentation in March. Now, I say all that to you not to impress you, but more so to say, you know what, if given a choice to speak to any of those audiences or be here today, got a lot of challenges in my life, but lying is not one of them. Given a choice, all those, or being here today, I would rather be here. See, folks, I feel that where you are right now, and I'm almost envious, I'm almost wishing that I was sitting there and I heard a talk like this, and I had applied it to my life. But I feel that I can have the biggest impact in your life right now, to help you get from where you are today to where you want to be. And if you're in a place where you don't know where you want to be, that's okay too. Maybe it's just identifying where you don't want to be. See, folks, I feel it. I feel the energy in this room right now. And I know we got a lot of leaders. But I'll tell you right now is that there are a lot of leaders in this world, your age, also older, who are paper leaders. You know what paper leaders are? These are leaders who are either appointed leaders, elected leaders, and who basically utilize these titles to make themselves look good. See, that's okay. If that works for you, fine. But you know what? I'm hoping if you're not, you're going to emerge, whether it be through this talk today or through the conference in the next couple of days, as a courageous leader. See the difference between a paper leader and a courageous leader. Courageous leaders are elected sometimes. They're appointed as well. But these are leaders who take action, who can't sit by and just say, wow, this is a great title. Look at me. These are people who are all about taking action, moving forward with their lives. And I'm hoping that you're in a place today, especially with the age, because we need you. A lot of people will tell you, we're looking at our future leaders. I'm looking at our future leaders, and that's the truth. But you know what? There's so many challenges and so many issues in the world today. We need you now. We need you to emerge as leaders today, and I mean that in a proactive way. So guess what? Today, every day moving forward, I want you to take action. Because there are a lot of people with a lot of dreams, and there are a lot of people who have a lot of belief and a lot of self-confidence. But guess what? I know a lot of leaders, a lot of people with self-confidence who fail to take action. That means nothing's going to get done. So if you're one of those people who don't say, wow, you know what, I'm really not doing anything, consider today the first day of your life if you want it to be. And for one reason and one reason only, is because you so choose. That's one of your greatest powers as a human being, folks, is your power to choose. See, think about this in your life. How many of you out there basically say to yourself, you know what, maybe I should be more proactive in my life. Maybe, you know what, I should be a better communicator. Maybe I should rally the support in my school. Maybe I should do more in the community. You know what happens? We say, I should do this, I should do this, I should do this. You know what happens? We end up shitting all over ourselves. That's what we do. When you say, I should do something, you know your mind's going to create an excuse for you not to do it. Who are you kidding? Whether it be an exercise routine, whether it be listening to someone. Folks, is that it's about creating musts in your life. It's about creating musts. If I told you right now there was a little girl behind me who is drowning in a swimming pool, would you say I should save her, or would you say I must? You would say I must. There is no choice, even if you didn't know how to swim. Why? Because you see, it's an urgent matter. It's an emergency. Now, in terms of emerging as a courageous leader, think about like maybe those little tweaks, those different choices that you have to make in your life. You could make those a must, folks. You could make those a must. And you know the best way that I know how to turn a should into a must is to link pain to the situation. Now, I wish I could give you some kind of little comfort zone and say, you know what, it's not about pain. First of all, there's a great quote that says, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. We choose to suffer. But you know, it's the pain where, you know, I don't want you to go out there seeking pain, but when it enters your life, leverage it. Use it as a learning opportunity. If I had each and every one of you come down here right now and put your hand on an oven, and I turn that oven on high, sooner or later, one by one, each and every one of you would remove his or her hand. Why? Because you experience enough pain in your life. We all get that. That's physical pain. I'm saying the same holds true with mental or emotional pain. Think about right now where you are as a leader, hopefully as a courageous leader. Maybe you're saying to yourself, I should be doing this, and there's more I can be doing. You know what? You can ask yourself, how long has it been that, you know what, you've wanted to do more? You've wanted to create, you wanted to be a proactive leader. Some of you might say 6 months. Well, it's been a year, 2 years. Is that enough pain? We hit our threshold for pain. We say, enough is enough, and we make a change. For some people, just reflecting on the past and how much time's going by. Sometimes that's enough. For others of you, guess what? For changes that you want to make to your life. For emerging as a more courageous leader. See yourself 6 months from now, maybe still having these shoulds. See yourself a year from now, 5 years from now. You know what? If it's been going on for 10 years, we could have this talk 10 years from now. And if you're one of those people who say, you know what, well, you know what, I'm just a teenager right now. I'm just a high school student. One day I'll get around to being a courageous leader. Someday I'll get around to becoming a courageous leader. Folks, there is no day of the week called one day. There is no day of the week called someday. If you say to yourself one day or someday, you might as well say never. Today is a day that we start creating musts. I want to give you 2 musts in the time that I'm with you today. And all I want you to do is take it for a test drive. See, guess what? There's a theory out there that says if you do something for 21 days straight, good, bad, or indifferent, it becomes a habit. 21 days. When I first heard this, guess what? I decided, ready for this? Something very meaningless. I decided to brush my teeth with the opposite hand. You ever tried brushing your teeth with the opposite hand? It's not a pleasant sight. It's not. I'm there with my left hand and I'm brushing my face, I'm brushing everything. But I had committed to doing this. And it wasn't on the 21st day, it was on the 4th day. All of a sudden I started leaning forward with my left hand. Something I've been doing with my dominant hand my entire life, but now I'm leaning forward with my left hand. A change had been made. So I know that's meaningless, but guess what? You can apply that to other things and take these for a test drive and other things in your life that you know in your heart is what's best for you. Must number 1, honor each and every day your power to choose. It's the greatest power that we have as a human being. Greatest power that we have as a human being. You know, I just had a chance last week in New York to speak to about 800 high school students. And all of a sudden I said, you know how great your power to choose is? Is that you can actually stand up right now, walk out here and say, I could care less what this guy has to say. Some of you might be looking around saying, is he serious? I can walk out here right now? Absolutely. And there was one kid who actually stood up and started walking out. He goes, see ya, and he started walking out. No joke. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, come here for a minute. He's like, what? I said, just come here for a minute. So he came up on stage, I put my arm around him, and I said, I want to thank you so much for honoring your greatest power, for having the audacity to honor your greatest power. I said, but let me tell you, with this power to choose comes responsibilities and also consequences. I don't know what the rules are in your school. I don't know what's going to happen if you leave here, but I never want you to feel that you're going to have your power to choose. So here's a great quote. It says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude, don't complain. So if all else fails, because I know a lot of high school students feel right now, whether it be your mother, your father, whoever you live with, teachers, administrators, people are kind of like calling the shots for you, which is true to a degree. But you know what you have each and every day is your attitude, folks. And I tell people the only place a true disability can reside is in one's attitude. And that is a choice. That means, guess what? We can all disable ourselves in here. And I mean that from an attitude standpoint. So think about now where your choices are taking you. Are your choices taking you down a road in which you can honestly say, hey, you know what, I'm happy with my life. It's a rewarding life. I feel somewhat productive with my life. If that's the case, guess what? Today, this conference, every day moving forward, we just take it to the next level. We either evolve or we dissolve. Or are you one of those people based on the choices that you have made in your life so far? That guess what? You say, you know what? I don't feel too happy with my life. I don't feel it's very rewarding. I don't like where I am right now. If that's the case, guess what? I appreciate your honesty. But knowing full well through the power to choose comes the power to change. You can begin to take your life in a different direction starting today. Don't wait for someone to do it for you. Don't give away your power. See, folks, I'm 41 years old right now. I believe that all of my choices, good, I don't even say bad, I don't even say indifferent, have led me up to you, doing what I love most. So why would I want to change anything? When you can take full responsibility for all your choices, you're not only free here in your mind, but more importantly, you're free here in your heart. And that's when you can subscribe to the belief that anything is possible. Now, I don't know if you're in a place where you believe that anything is possible. Let me preface this by saying, when I say anything is possible, not everything happens. If everything happened, guess what? Maybe there'd be no violence in this world, no sadness. Maybe everybody would be leaders. Maybe there'd be no people with disability, disease, illness. Not everything happens. But there has been yet to be a person who I have met. And folks, I've been everywhere in this world, and I have met a lot of types of people. I have met presidents of companies. I have met lonely beggars out on the street. I have met people who are spending the rest of their lives in prison. And there is yet to be a person who I have met who I brought that saying up to. Anything is possible, in which for that moment, they haven't felt a little bit more hopeful, a little bit more motivated, a little bit more air in their lungs. So I want you, even if it's just for the time that we're in here today, to subscribe to the belief that anything is possible, not only for you as courageous leaders, but also those people who are going to choose to follow you. Because guess what? As courageous leaders, you can be leading, and I'm hoping you're going to be proactive. But the best way that I know how you can lead right now is by your example. And that's very indicative of the choices that you are making. So folks, must number 2, I feel the number 1 choice that you gotta be making right now, you must be making, is a choice to have a high and healthy self-esteem. Now I know that many of you know what that phrase is all about, self-esteem. But I wonder, on a daily basis, how much you're cultivating, nurturing this. It's almost like taking vitamins, eating healthy, exercising. You gotta be doing this on a daily basis. This is how we value ourselves. Now you have to ask yourself right now, with regards to your self-esteem, you know what kind of foundation have I built? If I told you right now we were going to build a house, and I told you we're going to put the walls up, the roof up, the plumbing, the windows, all the stuff that goes into a house, I'm going to tell you it's just a matter of time before this house comes crumbling down. You might say, why? We put everything in the house. If you've ever seen a house being built, you know that cement fixture is the first thing they put in the ground. Without it, that house is going to come tumbling down. Our foundation to human beings is our self-esteem. And you know what? It begins first thing in the morning. Now you got to ask yourself, when you woke up this morning, somewhere maybe in the first few minutes, but certainly before you got on that bus and you came here today, you looked at that thing called a mirror. Now in all honesty, did you look into that mirror today? Big smile on your face and say, damn, I look good today. Did you see that? If you did that, I got every day. Every day? I love that. I got to talk to him afterward. Wait, yeah, I know he does that every day. But guess what? If that's the way you feel about yourself, great. I'd love to give that to a lot of high school kids around the world. I'd love to give it to a lot of adults around the world. But for the most part, guess what? Is that there are a lot of people today who don't look at themselves that way. They look into the mirror conversely like this. Ugh! Look at those bags under my eyes. Look at this zit. I can't even get my hair to do a thing. Look at my clothes, they're hideous. This isn't even a 6-pack, it's a 1-pack.
I have a peg, I'm proud of it.
And we're like in self-sabotage mode. And I know we laugh a little bit. I know we laugh a little bit. We say, hey, you know what, this is just a dialogue I'm having with myself. The truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, however we see ourselves is our advertisement to the rest of the world. However we see ourselves is the message we're sending out to the rest of the world. It's like taking a stone and throwing it into a still pond. It lands in the middle of the pond, but it has a ripple effect on the rest of the pond. So you have to ask yourself right now, how do I see myself in that mirror? If I went around to each and every one of you right now, not being creative, you're going to be creative all weekend, we'll be creative later. But taking an inventory of where we are as courageous leaders, is that if I asked you to describe yourself using 3 adjectives, to be honest with yourself, would they be 3 empowering adjectives? Do you honestly see yourself and have thoughts that go throughout your mind? Maybe as courageous, maybe as intelligent, maybe as good looking, maybe as friendly, artistic, athletic, you name it. If that's the case, keep adding to those empowering words. Or like many teenagers that I see today, and this is where probably you're going to be in a place of not only helping yourself first, got to fill that cup first, but also identifying what's going on with other people. A lot of people see themselves as fat, ugly, stupid. And I know there's a part of us that has a little nervous laugh. But again, however we see ourselves, that's the message we're sending out to the rest of the world. And for many of us, with these words that we're using to describe ourselves, it's been 21 days straight. It's been much longer, so it's a habit. But just like a computer, folks, you're in charge of the computer, meaning you. You are your own computer. You input the information you want to go in, and you can delete it as well. I don't care how long. There's nobody in this world, including all of you right now, especially at the wonderful age that you're at right now, who is beyond making changes. So those are our 2 musts that we're going to work on. And they're very easy. I don't like to complicate life, ladies and gentlemen. And I have to tell you, without these 2 musts in my life, I would never be where I am today. See, I think it's very important for you to connect with the speaker, whoever speaks to you. It's almost like why we love reality TV so much, is that we love to travel vicariously through other people. Kind of takes the pressure off us a little bit. And we watch and so forth, but sooner or later with reality TV, we plug our own lives in and we say, maybe I can relate to that. Well, maybe I understand that. I'm not saying Snooki. I'm not saying people like that who you're going to relate to. I'm talking about other people. Maybe Snooki it is. I don't know. But plugging your lives in. Plugging your lives in and basically saying, hey, you know what? I can identify with that person. So just to let you know, for the first 15 years of my life, I wasn't in this wheelchair. It was all about movement for me. Football, basketball, baseball couldn't get me to sit down and read a book. And then December 28, 1985, I woke up. And I could no longer walk. Could no longer walk. I remember being in 2 different hospitals for 2 solid months. And all of a sudden, after exploratory surgery, not to correct anything, just to see what was going on, about 2.5 weeks after that surgery, I remember a doctor walking in. 15 years of age, I am. Doctor walks in. And he said to me, Scott, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you will never walk again. And all of a sudden, my mind got a hold of this and started telling me everything I would no longer be able to do in my life. See, folks, when your mind's leading the way, it's about fear, disbelief, playing small in life. And that's where I was living at the time. And where many of you and many teenagers, many adults are living. Fear, disbelief, playing small. There's a voice here, but there's also a voice here that I'll get to in a minute. So all of a sudden I'm there thinking about all the things I would never be able to do with my life. But in the doctor's next breath, he said, but Scott, you're a very lucky young man. I said, lucky? Lucky? You just shattered my dreams, Doc. You know what my dreams were? I remember laying in that hospital bed and telling him, I said, Doc, I want to go to the University of North Carolina and play basketball where Michael Jordan played. If that doesn't happen, I want to go to the University of Oklahoma and play quarterback for the Sooners. You just shattered my dreams. How can you tell me I'm lucky? He said, Scott, yours is the 12th documented case ever of this type of malformation. They told me I was born with the malformation of blood vessels in my spinal cord. Blood vessels that weren't the right shape and size. Could have gone my whole life without anything happening. There was no accident, no injury, no trauma. It was like a sleeping volcano. At that moment in 1985, the blood vessels burst, bled, and created like a stroke in my spinal cord. Doctor said, here's the 12th documented case ever. Out of the 11 cases before yours, 7 of those malformations, 7 of those strokes occurred in the brain and went down. Mine occurred in the spinal cord. I was still alive. Talk about your power to choose. 2 doors appeared to me in that moment laying in a hospital bed. The one door over there says, I don't want to be here anymore. Started focusing on all the things I couldn't do with my life. Thankfully, that door really didn't open in my life. The door that opened, that was bright, full of light, full of uncertainty. As courageous leaders, you got to embrace uncertainty. There was a voice attached to that door, and it was very faint. See, folks, there's a voice inside your head that's probably very loud to you right now. There's also a voice inside your heart that as a courageous leader, you have to demand answers from it. And it will respond quickly, and the more that you trust it, the louder it will get. And in that moment, it was like the biggest life preserver that was sent to me. All of a sudden, my heart started beating faster, and it said, Scott, you're still here. You're still here. And if you keep showing up for life, life is going to be good to you. You still have the use of your hands, the use of your arms, your heart's still working, your mind's still working. If you keep showing up for life, life is going to be good to you. Folks, I got back into life. I emerged as president of my class. Each year in high school, the courageous leaders started to come forward. I went on to Seton Hall University, got involved in wheelchair sports, but also announcing basketball and baseball games on the student radio station. Had jobs out of college, all these things that were going on. So to a degree, I was a courageous leader. But guess what? There was a lot more work See, what I'm sharing with you with regards to this journey of self-discovery, looking at that mirror reflection, going inside of our hearts, understanding the words to describe ourselves. I was somewhat of a leader, probably led by somewhat of a good example, but there's so much more I could have done. And so much more I started to do at the age of 27. 27 is when the full courageous leader started to emerge. The one who said, I can't tolerate injustice. I can't, even if I don't know people, I can't ignore things anymore. I need to help, and I need to surround myself with other courageous leaders. And when I'm not a courageous leader, oh, you can better believe, best believe, that I am following a courageous leader. During my 2 trips around the world, the first trip I went to 15 countries in 15 months. The journey of self-discovery was given to me. You don't have to travel around the world, that's where my path took me. But then a second journey was created by myself and my wonderful wife, who I met shortly before the first journey, got married in between the 2 journeys. And then we were going to 26 countries in 1 year. It was a journey to help other people. Studying accessibility based on ability. Talking to children and teens about acceptance and tolerance. So there was a journey to help other people. But I also learned at that time that, guess what? It's like if you've ever flown on an airplane before and they go over emergency procedures. This is very important for leaders to understand. Is that you got to give it to yourself first. They don't say give oxygen to children and elderly first. They say give it to yourself first and then give it to other people. It's a great way to understand that you got to take care of yourself. If you take care of yourself with the intention of wanting to ignore other people, that's selfishness. That's not what I'm talking about. When you do for yourself with wanting to do for more for other people, having the intention to do more for other people, that's self-respect. That's self-love. That's what I'm talking about. So while there was a journey to help other people, I said there needs to be a personal journey in this. See, folks, when I got married, I was also told something else that was more debilitating than being told I'd never be able to walk again. I was told I'd never be able to father my own children. Being able to father my own children is even more important to me than walking again. I'd be blessed if I could adopt a child. It's still something my wife and I might do someday. But I wanted to exhaust everything, folks, in my power. So before we left on that second trip around the world, I decided to get tested. And I was basically told I had a 2% chance of fathering my own children. And the longer that I was paralyzed and in this wheelchair, the more my numbers would go down. Like, yeah, like they can get any worse things. So all of a sudden I began my second trip around the world. And I'll never forget it, at the end of that journey, the last thing that we did, we were at a seminar in Hawaii. 2,500 people were at this seminar. And one night it was announced that we were going to do a fire walk. A fire walk! Right away my mind got a hold of that and said, can't walk on fire. Are you kidding me? They had a little patch of burning hot coals over there. I'm like, ooh, let's see how hot they really are. So I reached out with my hand and I said, these are burning hot coals. How are we going to walk? I can't walk. I'm the only one at this freaking seminar. I can't walk. I can't do this. That's what my mind had told me. But I trained myself to do a head heart shift. Right away, my heart said, it's going to be very simple when you start listening to it. Find a way. Find a way. Moments later, in front of the director of the seminar, I said, listen, I know that I can't do this fire walk on my feet and on my legs, but I'm going to do it on my hands. You see, with my arms and my hands, I'm going to get down onto the ground. I'm going to flip over onto my stomach. I want you to grab my legs like a wheelbarrow race, and we're going to go along these burning hot coals. Now he's looking at me like many of you, like, this boy's crazy. Yeah, I am crazy. But he said, you know what, Scott? I believe in you, but you need to be prepared. So after a night's worth of training, he pulled me alongside. He said, Scott, it's not going to be this little patch of burning hot coals. There's going to be a path 40 feet long of burning hot coals waiting for you. Whatever you want in life is waiting for you on the other end. It was the first time, folks, as courageous leaders, you can do this with anything in your life. You got to see that picture on the inside first. You got to visualize what it is that you want to create. I visualized myself walking along the beach holding my wife's hand with one hand and holding a child's hand with the other hand. Hopefully my flesh and blood. Folks, you could have put broken glass down in front of me. There was nothing that was going to stop me. I got down on the ground, flipped over on my stomach, he grabbed my legs, and I said, let's go. And I felt some heat on my hands, and I felt it on my face. But I got done with that. And it was one of those moments that I had, but one of those moments that you've all had in your life, in which you said, you know what, I don't know if I can do this. But you did it anyway. And you said to yourself, if this is possible, anything is possible. In times where there's doubt and disbelief, I want you to reflect on those moments, no matter how small and insignificant your mind's telling you are. And once you said, I don't know if I can do it, you did it anyway. and look at how much stronger you've emerged. Folks, about 2 weeks later, I'm back at home. I'd just been retested about the chances of fathering my own children. I went to a room shortly thereafter, and there were 3 doctors, all with their arms crossed. Doctor in the middle looks at me and he said, "Scott, what have you been doing?" And I said, "Why?" And he says, "We just don't understand. You've defied logic. You've defied years of research. You now have a 55% chance of fathering your own children. What the hell have you been doing?" So with a great big smile on my face, I'm tapping the center of my chest. And I said, there's something that's unquantifiable, something that cannot be measured. It doesn't exist within some of us. It exists within all of us. And that's the power of belief. The power of belief. So I said, thank you, I need to be leaving now. To make a long story just a little bit longer, when I get done here today and I drive back to northern New Jersey, probably right around the time they get home from school, will be an 8.5-year-old little girl. And, and a 6-year-old little boy. Now, just to let you know, you want to talk about the ego, which is very difficult to get rid of. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the man actually controls the sex of the child. Okay? We determine, it's one thing we do well in life, guys. We determine the sex of the child. This is the first girl in 72 years of my side of the family. We don't know how to wake girls on my side of the family. But that told me anything is possible. I'll never forget. See, you learn some crazy things when you're traveling around the world. We saw actually people giving birth when they were traveling around the world. And in some of these countries, women actually catch their own children. My wife wanted nothing to do with that. But I said, honey, I play quarterback. I can do this. I can get in there and I can catch our children. She's like, do what you gotta do. So I'll never forget when my daughter was born. I caught her, and all of a sudden I shielded her from that light. And if there was a bubble above her head that had words in it, it would have said, thank you, Daddy. Thank you for believing that anything is possible. Imagine if I had given up hope. Imagine, you know what, sometimes we're going to be told. And I'm not talking about rules and stuff in school and stuff. I'm talking about rules that you might have at home. I'm talking about your dreams. I'm talking about your aspirations. I'm talking about you being a courageous leader. You might be told that this is impossible, that you can't do things. You can subscribe to that all you want. Or you can blaze a trail in a different direction and say, you know what? I need to determine. If your heart's beating very fast, you want to do something, you want to be something, you got to answer the call of that heart. But I will also tell you that when one dream ends, because not all dreams come true, I promise you this, a bigger and brighter one is waiting for you. Folks, I want to take you a little bit deeper into my life. I want you to watch a video, and I want you to be motivated and inspired, and I want you to think, wow, you know, not yet, not quite yet, you can get that, yep. I want you to be motivated and inspired. I want you to think, wow, is a kid who kind of sat in an audience just like me, not too far from here in New Jersey, wondering where his life is going to go. And even though I've had many challenges and so forth in my life, see what I've been able to accomplish. Be motivated, inspired. But more importantly, I want you to imagine if the story of your life were going to be up on the screen. Based on the choices that you have made in your life, is it a life that you're happy with? If that's the case, guess what? You find it very rewarding in your life. If that's the case, just take it to the next level. Again, we either evolve or redesign. Or is it a movie that, you know, you wouldn't want anyone to watch right now, based on the choices and experiences you've had in your life? If that's the case, guess what? I appreciate your honesty, but knowing full well through the power to choose comes the power to change. You can begin to write the next chapter of your life the way you want it to be written. And I can't think of a better venue and a better experience that you're going through the next 2 days to declare it now. To say, I am not going to settle, enough is enough, I'm going in this direction. And if you don't know, again, what that direction is right away, maybe it's just identifying, I don't want to go in that direction anymore. Watch this video, and if we have a couple minutes, I'll take any questions that you might have. Enjoy the video.
To motion. Playing sports and hanging out the Jersey Shore every summer was the meaning of life to me. Playing quarterback for the football team, pitching and playing center field, or just being around water. Yeah, those were the days. Yeah, I went through those awkward phases too. Glasses, braces, you name it. Been there, done that. Life does get easier, trust me. But for me, life would get tougher before it got easier. On December 28, 1985, at the age of 15, I awoke to a rare stroke that paralyzed me from my waist down to my toes. My life changed in an instant, but my devotion to motion would grow even stronger. I've always said when one dream ends, a bigger and brighter one is waiting for you. Here are one of those dreams that came true. Attending my high school senior prom, without my wheelchair, just my leg braces, a walker, and some high-top Reebok sneakers. My girlfriend and I were elected king and queen of the prom. You gotta believe. Go to high school and you have to graduate, right? Well, I wanted to graduate like everyone else, on my own 2 feet, so I walked the entire graduation procession. Then, as class president, I had to get up and give a motivational talk. Maybe this is where my love for public speaking began.
The more you give, the more you get. The more you laugh, the less you fret. The more you do unselfishly, the more you live abundantly. The more of everything you share, the more you always have to spare. The more you love, the more you'll find that life is good and friends are kind. For only what we give away enriches us from day to day. Thank you.
University, where I announced all the basketball and baseball games on a student radio station, staying as close to the games that I love. So I thought, hey, I can still play this game, and through hard work, patience, and determination, I can play it well. Wheelchair sports opened up a whole new world to me. Sometimes we push ourselves for the greater good. Shortly before graduating college, I decided to push an entire 5K race and raise money for a fund that was set up for a football teammate of mine in high school who died in a tragic automobile accident. I was the only person in a wheelchair who participated in this race. Sometimes we have no idea how big dreams can be and how they can be accomplished. On July 4th, 1996, live on NBC TV down in Miami, Florida, I was blessed to have been selected to carry the Olympic torch that was en route to Atlanta, Georgia for the Summer Olympic Games.
And you are looking live at downtown Miami. The torch, the symbol of the Olympic Games, is in South Florida.
In fact, Scott Chesney, who is from the Miami Project and he volunteers his time motivating paralysis victims, is carrying the torch right now.
And the dreams just keep coming. Life is good. No, life is awesome. Maybe you'd like to be a fellow world traveler. I have traveled to 38 countries so far. I've been to the pyramids of Egypt, on the Great Wall of China, swam in the Dead Sea of Israel, hugged a koala bear in Australia, and got kissed by a giraffe in Kenya. And thought, if I was going to get a kiss by a giraffe in Kenya, I might as well get a kiss by a dolphin in Miami, Florida. And then hitch a ride from him. So how about having dinner with Michael Jordan, the best basketball player ever? Sometimes I just like to cool off by riding wave runners in the ocean. Maybe you'd like to do some modeling. Here I am modeling down in Miami, Florida. Yes, if you pay me enough money, I will wear a crazy shirt like that. When you're not modeling, why not hang out with a supermodel? Here I am with Christy Brinkley. I'm the cute one on the left. Maybe hanging with a rock and roll legend is one of your dreams. Here I am with Jimmy Buffett. How about making goofy faces with the great one, hockey legend Wayne Gretzky? What an honor it was to meet Norman Schwarzkopf, but he wasn't going to make me stand and salute him. And if you're going to meet a general, why not go all the way and meet the President of the United States? What an absolute privilege and an honor it was to meet former President Bill Clinton. Now you may think that life does not get any better than meeting a President of the United States. Well, for me, it can, and it did. I came this close to realizing a dream that I had before meet the entire football team, including Heisman Trophy winner Sam Bradford and Coach Bob Stoops. But I had a chance to give them a motivational talk.
Remember right now, close your eyes, please. Close your eyes. I want you to take yourself back. This is great when you're in your heart. Take yourself back from that first moment that you decided that you wanted to play football. I don't care how old you were, 8 years old, 5 years old, maybe it was 10, maybe it was 12, whatever it was. Take yourself back. Take yourself back to that little innocent kid, that fearless kid, and ask yourself why it is that you wanted to play ball, and what the emotions were like. Know well that you can capture that at any moment. Now fast forward that tape a little bit more.
So what's holding you back from going after your dreams and living your life to the fullest? Fear. Fictionalized evidence appearing real. It's a great acronym. That is the only thing that ultimately holds us back. So, you know what to do. You face your greatest fear, and then you just jump, like I did in 2002. My greatest fear up until that point in my life was jumping out of an airplane. Anyone want to go skydiving? Let's do it. You ever get so nervous about something that every single tooth in your mouth shows? Yeah, that's me. Now, I had to be so smart to sit right next to the hatch that was going to open, so you're going to see the first view that I had. Want to know if you want to go skydiving? Check out this view. Pretty daunting, huh? Sometimes you just got to take a leap. So here I am with my legs dangling out of the airplane, and my mind pushed the ultimate panic button. It said, I want my mommy. But you know what? I trained myself to do a head heart shift. And right away my heart took over and said, if you can let go of an airplane this high up in the air, you can let go of any issues in your life. So I just jumped. So together with your instructor, who's like your best friend that day, you fall for about 30 seconds. And hopefully your parachute opens. I think it did, because I'm here to be with you today. And at the time, my wife was pregnant with our little baby in Honey, so we dedicated this jump to our little baby. Today, I'm not even afraid to walk again. Do I want to walk again? Yes, absolutely. My life would be far easier physically with the use of my legs. But do I have to walk again? No. My life is far greater than the use of my legs. When the time comes for me to walk again, I will be ready. But I may also live the rest of my life in a wheelchair, and might just be the happiest guy to live life in a wheelchair. Why? Well, you've just watched and heard many of the reasons, but let me share with you the greatest gifts of my life. Let's begin with my best friend and wife, Pratiksha. She was born in India and moved here when she was just 8 years old. Different culture, different religion, different color skin than I have, different language, different foods, you name it. All the differences that could have kept us apart. But we connected on a heart level, and I can honestly say that I fall more in love with her every day. Here's my daughter Nia, or as I was called when I was a kid, and still am today, Ches. She's the first girl on my side of the family in 72 years. She loves playing with her friends, animals, all kinds of sports. And of course my son Ray, or as I call him, Champ, as my father called me. Ray loves playing with his friends, playing Pokemon, all kinds of sports, Legos, drawing, playing the drums, you name it. Imagine awakening each morning and telling yourself that no matter what the day has in store for me, I'm going to try my best and have fun. Then imagine right before your head hits the pillow to go to sleep, you can honestly say to yourself that you actually did try your best and you did actually have fun in the process. That sounds like a journey in life worth taking. Dream, believe, and work to achieve.
Listen, real quick, part of being a great leader is giving respect. I believe when you give respect, you get respect. Because you've been so respectful, I want to give you that opportunity just for a couple minutes if you have any questions that you might have real quick. Anybody has any questions about my life, about your life, please, this is an opportunity. I want to just put it out there. Any questions? Yes?
What would you say to leaders that feel like they're doing too much, they're too involved, and sometimes it can be too much?
The question was, what do you say to leaders who feel like they might be too involved and doing too much? Is that there are a lot of leaders out there who we constantly do for other people, who don't feel like a sense of purpose and so forth. What I would say is that I'd be curious to know, and I'm not saying it's you, but if it is you, is that you got to come back and see how much you're taking care of yourself. Okay? You got to see how much you're doing, but also as leaders, folks, there's a great saying out there. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. No matter how much you want people to change, no matter how much you think it's good for them, folks, there are going to be some people who aren't ready for that message. So as I said, passing along information. And guess what? Is that sharing different things, taking action where necessary. Very important. But more than anything is lead by example. And part of that leading means, people know that you're taking care of yourself. You're filling that cup. People are attracted to leaders. Okay? And you also got to ask yourself, what my standards for being a leader? What needs to happen for me to be considered a good leader? Maybe you got so many things that need to happen each day that you feel like you're coming up short of failure. I always say create attainable standards, like one thing that's going to happen once you feel good, and have lofty goals. All these goals that you want to happen. And try to make them happen, but knowing full well that your standards are in place. Okay? Any more? Yes, a couple more, yes?
I'll stand up so you can hear better.
Thank you. If I was a gentleman, I'd stand up for you, but you go ahead and stand up.
Obviously, your hardships have made you become a motivational speaker, but how do you seriously get into becoming a motivational speaker?
How do you seriously become?
Do you have to go to school for it?
No, you don't have. No. I mean, you can. There's a lot of training that goes into it. But you know what I say? The best place is to go into your heart. See, folks, I could be behind a podium right now and read you a lecture, probably like many of your teachers do. Do you like those? Do you learn from those people? Or do you want an experience maker? You want an experience maker. And all I can say is that everybody in here, you got a heart that makes you truly unique. I'm going to say to you, if that's what you want to do, go into your heart. And you ask the question, what does my heart have to say? And I will guarantee you that a motivational speaker, if that's what you want to do, will emerge. Okay? How about any last? Yes?
What's the most challenging thing you had to overcome?
The most challenging thing? It's a work in progress. Parenting. You guys are tough. You know what's interesting in my school? In my town, maybe it's the same in the town we have to actually get a card to take out a library book. We have to actually get a license to go fishing in a local park. And we have to get a license to basically drive a car. Do you know what you need to become a parent? Nothing. They will send anybody home from the hospital with a kid. So lay off your parents. No, it's on-job training, ladies and gentlemen. And it's tough, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I have learned so much more about life through my children than anything that life has taught me so far. How about one last one? One last question? Anybody want it? Yes?
Has there ever been a moment in your life when you said, oh, I wish I took this chance?
Oh, I wish I took this chance. Very interesting. I can't say it right now. I mean, I went up to complete strangers, before I met my wife, I went up to complete strangers and girls who I just thought were totally out of my league, and I've always been, it doesn't mean I don't have challenges, but I'm always in a place where I've understood that if something doesn't work out, is that there is no failure, only feedback, okay? You can't fail at anything. If you fail at something in school, right away you say to yourself, you know what, maybe I didn't prepare for this, maybe I didn't get extra help, maybe I didn't study accordingly. You can blame the teacher all you want, you can blame anybody else. When it comes down to it, you know what you could be doing better. So I'm saying go after life. Experiment within reason, okay? But go out there and explore, but knowing full well that if you're in your heart, you're only going to see life as a series of learning experiences, and every single experience is going to bring you up to this very moment which we've created. Folks, first of all, if you want to connect with me, you can always find me on Facebook through my name and everything, but I'm going to leave you with a quote. It says, "A vision without action is just a dream. Action without a vision is merely a passing of time. But a vision with action can change the world." Have a great conference, folks. All the best to you. Thank you.